Hello there, I'm Andrew Nunn and I'm the conductor of the Bearsden Choir. The choir are currently preparing for a big performance of Elgar's epic choral masterpiece, The Dream of Gerontius, and I'm very lucky to be able to be joined today by one of our soloists for this performance, Penelope Cousland. Hi Penelope.
Hi.
You're turning into kind of a regular soloist with the Bearsden Choir. What have you been doing since you last performed with us in May when we did the Verdi last year?
Since then, I finished off my time at the National Opera Studio in London, and then I spent 10 weeks last summer at the Bayreuth Festival in Germany, where I was singing in the chorus there. And then I returned back to the UK and I covered at Welsh National Opera in Covantiana, a big opera by Mussorgsky. And then I did Mother Goose and covered Baba the Turk in the Rake's Progress by Stravinsky. And then, since then, I've just been doing a few concerts, and then I'm now preparing for this next summer ahead, where I'll be at the Loughborough Festival, covering in The Flying Dutchman, and then I'll be back at the Bayreuth Festival again this summer.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know
It's
how you
been a
fit.
busy year.
How do you fit all that into 12 months? But we're very glad that you can join us again and
Me too.
perform with the choir in this piece that's very different in some ways, but also very similar to the Verdi. Tell us about your role that you take in the Elgar work.
So in this work, I actually don't appear until part 2. So in part 1, we meet Gerontius, who is a man that is approaching death, and he's just a sort of normal man, but very devout in his faith. And as he's approaching death, he starts to sort of panic a bit. That what if this faith has kind of been for no reason and there's nothing beyond that? And then at the end of part 1, we meet the priest who kind of sends him off into death. Part 2 is where I come along, and it starts with this kind of eerie music, and basically Gerontius is now a soul of man, and he's in this place where there's no time, there's no, just a sort of void space, basically, and he's blind, so he meets me, who's his guardian angel, basically. I'm the angel.
And that's the crux of things. You are the angel. Yeah.
So I meet him, and I guide him through this sort of space, and we come across all sorts of people. So we pass through a group of demons, we pass through angels, and eventually I'm guiding him up to be judged by God at this kind of amazing climactic point of the piece. And then at the end, it ends with this beautiful section where I send him off into the lake of purgatory.
I mean, that closing section is so beautiful. It's just kind of one of the best. I mean, the piece has many amazing moments, but that for me is one of my favourite bits.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that you touched on what is so good about the piece is the contrasts in drama, especially in part 2 there, where you're talking about the demons. And so the chorus themselves, they have to represent and embody so many different things. So they have to be these awful demons in purgatory that are trying to drag Gerontius down. They want him down with them, and he's hearing that, and that frightens him. See that, and I mean, they're scary. I mean, the choir, they've really got into that part of things. But at the same time, they also then have to embody these angelic beings and the beauty that's praising to God for his graciousness. And I think that is what the piece is about. It's a piece of contrasts, of mood, of emotion, and as the chorus, they have to really get into
an amazing chorus
different
piece.
styles. It is. And I think it's that the fact that you guys have got very clearly defined roles in the storytelling. The chorus themselves, they have to take on many different roles. It's interesting because your Gerontius is actually a former colleague at the opera school here. How do you think that might influence your interpretation of the role?
I think it's always really nice to sing with people that you know. And, you know, me and Luke get on very well. We know each other quite well. And I think it'll be nice to already have that sort of relationship so that when we're doing these really beautiful duet parts, we know what each other sound like. We know... we're used to each other, so it's not that sort of nerve on the day of what are the other soloists going to be like. And
I think that's really nice, and I think that maybe will give a nice connection.
Absolutely.
Because there is a lot of interaction between your role as the angel and his role as Gerontius, as the everyman. And I think that's what's so interesting about the piece as well, that this could be anyone. Gerontius is designed as a character. Yes, he's devout in his faith, but he is an ordinary man, and that's what Elgar Elgar had in mind.
Really wanted to get across.
Yeah. We're really excited. What beyond this? What is your plans for the future?
The dreaded question. Well, as I said, this summer is fairly busy, so I'm off to Loughborough first, so down to London and then to Oxfordshire, and then back to Germany for 10 weeks. And then I'm coming back over to do the Lammermuir Festival in Dunbar, where we're doing a brand new commission for myself and Andrew McTaggart, who's baritone. Lovely, and that should be quite fun. It's a brand new piece all about folklore and stories from Dunbar. Really so nice. A community piece. So really fun. And then beyond that, we'll see.
Exactly. I think that's part of the life, though, isn't it?
Absolutely.
See what comes along.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining me, Penelope. I can't wait to hear you sing this role. It's kind of one of the iconic mezzo-soprano oratorio roles, and I, for one, am really excited to hear you sing it. Yeah. The 29th of April is going to be a really big occasion. It's a big occasion for the Bearsden Choir. It's the first of 3 gala concerts that start the celebration of our 50th anniversary in 2018. And it's just a massive scale performance, the Gerontius. There's going to be over 200 musicians on stage. The Bearsden Choir is over 120 strong. There's 50 musicians from the RCS Symphony Orchestra. And we're also joined by a semi-chorus, which will be the Junior Royal Conservatoire of Scotland Chamber Choir. So this is a really, really big performance, and it's one that you're not going to want to miss out on. Tickets are still available from the Glasgow City Halls box office, and we would love for you to join us 7:30 p.m, 29th of April in Glasgow City Halls.